Hello and welcome to this edition of the Sports Den. My name is Domenic Papa, and what a great week of sports. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about everything that's going on, the hottest topics in sports. Before we get all to that and get into our guests, I want to give a shout out to the Walker Homesite Under-15 baseball team. They are Ontario champions. Don Menard and the gang, Rick Pryor and the gang, winning an Ontario championship. Congratulations to them. AKO football gets back on the winning track. They defeat Ottawa 37-24. They'll look to make it 2 in a row this coming Saturday. We'll get more on that in just a moment. University of Windsor Lancers kick off their football schedule. Unfortunately, they come up short against the Queen's Golden Gales. They'll look to bounce back this Saturday at Alumni Field, a 1 o'clock kickoff against the Laurier Golden Hawks. And I have to give a shout out to the Windsor Stars soccer team. Despite losing 2-0 to a very good TFC Toronto team, the Stars will hopefully bounce back this week when they hit the road again and get into the winning column. On this edition of the Sports Den, we are going to talk about concussions. That's one of the hottest topics in sports. It affects all sports. We'll get the panel's thoughts on that and where it's going and how it will change sports. We're going to talk a little bit about the Michigan-Notre Dame situation this coming weekend, of course, the last meeting between these historic teams. Notre Dame putting a halt to that. I want to ask the panel why they're doing that. We may touch off on some NFL talk. Of course, a big announcement from the commissioner this week that domestic violence will not be tolerated. Some severe suspensions will be handed for that. And if time does allow us, we will talk a little bit about the future of local sports. Before we get to our panel, I want to plug our upcoming telecast this week. Week number 4 in the OFC football schedule. The London Beefeaters will be in town to take on the AKO Fratman 6:30 pregame show. Kickoff at 7 p.m. WeTV.ca will have all the action for you live at we-tv.ca. Now let's get to the panel. He's a good friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, former athlete himself. He's made his mark in the financial world. He's also made his mark as a photographer here in the Windsor-Essex County area, talking about Rocky Iracy. Welcome to the show, Rocky. Thanks for finally getting on here with us. Keeping you busy these days is the financial world.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a roller coaster.
Markets going, what's going on in Europe, it's tricky, but it's pretty good right now.
Yeah. Do you see signs of improvement in it? Like, do you see the economy getting to where we need it to be?
Yeah, there's signs of improvement, although the United States put out some numbers on employment. They're pretty good this past week, and hopefully some of these little hiccups we're getting in different markets get settled out. Canada's been doing really well. Actually, Canada's been one of the best in the world for the past couple of years, so
all right.
It's good.
Good stuff. Glad to have you on the show, Rock. Thanks for coming in. Also joining us on the panel, he works extremely hard with the Windsor Stars soccer team. He's kind of heading it up now. I don't know if he took that over. Well, I think he took it over just because he had to almost, but he does a great job. And he's a former great soccer player himself, played at Michigan State on a scholarship, and now he's teaching our young players how to play the game very well. Vancho Surofsky joins us. You wish you were still at Michigan State, I bet.
Thanks, Tom. No, it's all for the love.
Yes, that's right.
For the love.
Do it for the love of the sport, right?
Yeah. I wish I was playing instead of coaching and managing, but that's another story.
Windsor Stars, a little bit of a roller coaster so far this year. It's the new league, the League One Ontario, which has got some great young players. I know I've watched many of the games and witnessed some great soccer. Stars are going through the growing process of it all.
Yeah, Dom, I think the move was right on. It was perfect. I think the League One is ideal for us. The league's been nothing but fantastic in terms of administration and support and standards. We've been inconsistent as a program and as a team on and off the field, and that's part of the growing pain. We have to build a program that allows us to bring kids in and have them for a full year commitment with more training and more development, so that we're not looking for a makeshift team when we play away versus home. So that's part of the struggle, but I think we're gonna be fine, and we're getting stronger and better every year.
The young players in this area, is there enough to keep this going in a positive direction?
Yeah, I think there is. The problem we've had is that we haven't tapped into them. We haven't not only tapped into the FC Nationals program in a serious way, we haven't tapped into the other clubs' kids who either don't have enough space to play at the Nationals level, but we ought to be able to draw from all of these to build a stronger team going forward from year after year, and not rely on veterans. This is a youth-oriented program like the Junior A hockey, and that's where we need to focus.
All right, well, good luck with all that.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming in, Vancho. I know you're busy. Do appreciate your time here tonight. Also on the panel with us, I don't really need to introduce him. Everybody knows him. He's been a longtime sports fixture in our community. He will be deservedly inducted into the Windsor and Essex County Sports Hall of Fame this coming fall. I think he's put away his coaching jacket officially. Maybe not, who knows, but he currently works, I'm not even going to say part-time anymore. He still does some work with the Kitchener Rangers in the Ontario Hockey League. He's the former coach of the Windsor Spitfires, former track great, just an all-around good sports person, good guy for sure. Dave Perpich is with us. The Hall of Fame, not a bad thing.
Well, Dom, it's as I talked to you once on the radio about it. I'm not sure what it's deserved, but I tell you what, I'm tickled pink about it, yeah. And I didn't know, really until the day of the announcement. And we were down at the WSCU, and they have the pictures up down there. When I started looking at the people who are up there, I think, my goodness, I'm in with that crew of people. I said, now I am impressed, sort of thing.
Absolutely, and it's deserved, Perp. When you get a call like that, I guess the first thing that happens, I mean, aside from the excitement, maybe it gets the heart jumping a little bit, but I would imagine you kind of start thinking about things and putting things in perspective of what's happened with you in your sports career.
Well, the call came back in May from Johnny Upham, and at first I didn't really, I don't know if I sounded like shocked or
sure.
Okay, John, let's stop
Okay,
the kidding
where's
around,
the joke here?
because I know John quite well. And actually, since then, I found myself thinking, about the good times and the things that have happened to me, and it's been a wonderful experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, you've had the storied life as far as careers go here. Is the head coaching jacket now officially put away, though?
Well, it is, but like as Bencho said, sometimes you get called in, and it's like you're in the bullpen there. You figure you're sound asleep, and all of a sudden, there are other guys in the bullpen. They bring you in, but my jacket is away down. The whistle is gone in the garage.
It's funny though. I think it was maybe just a year or two ago. Tony Prosky gives you a call because he's suspended, and you have to go and coach for him.
Yeah, that was
a great
junior
story.
C. Yeah, it was a great
junior
story.
C in Essex, and I thought that was a great story.
That really was.
So that call, Tony's still coaching, and you never know with Coach Prosky if he might have to sit in the sideline again. So you might want to keep it around a little longer, anyways. But thanks for coming in, Dave.
No problem.
If you want to get involved with our discussion, you can certainly Twitter in to us. Am I saying that right? Twitter in? Yeah, Twitter in, tweet in, Twitter in, tweet in. You know what? You see it right there. Twitter at SportsDen Live. If you want to throw in a comment and get involved with our discussion or ask a question to our panel yourself, please Twitter or tweet in at SportsDen Live. We'd love to. If I have time, I'll read some of it. Concussions, guys. Every week we're hearing about concussions. Players out, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever. Concussions are a big part of sports now, and really affecting a lot of the games. You can see some of these hits that are going on right now. How serious is this, and how much is it changing sports today? Who wants to take it? Go ahead. Anyone.
I think from a soccer perspective, when I look at it, and most of the footage that we're looking at is football and hockey, and of course it's also in soccer as well. And I think at the same time, we're receiving unintended consequences and benefiting in terms of growth of the sport because it's more prevalent in football and in hockey because of the speed and the size and the nature of the sport. So, while soccer is growing, and both on the women's and on the men's side, we still have to be careful about most of the head collisions. Okay, it's not about the head ball. I don't think the soccer ball is creating any concussive issues unless you're unless you're hitting the ball every day for hundreds and hundreds of times a day, which is not the case. But I think as a general thing, our sport is benefiting from the fear of concussion that is the concussion discussion and the reality of it taking place in the sport, in the contact sports.
That's almost like opposite of what football is going through right now,
right.
and even hockey for that matter. And football, I think, has taken the biggest brunt of the concussion discussion. There was a lawsuit that was just settled recently with players, hundreds of millions of dollars. Can anything be done to prevent concussions?
I think it's awareness. I know back when I played high school football, you didn't care. You just ran your head through a wall, and you were dizzy. You got up and went again, right? Just an experience with my son playing in AAA hockey. He got blindsided, knocked to the ice, got knocked out for a few seconds. I said, okay, he got his bell rung. I didn't think a lot of it, really. It took like 3 weeks, 4 weeks before he could even function properly from light sensitivity and all kinds of things. So it's something real, and we really have to look at it with the speed of the game, and it's something, you know, Davey, probably see a lot of that.
Is that what's happened, though? I mean, it's because of the speed of the game in a lot of these games. I mean, you look at hockey, it's faster. Players are bigger, stronger. Football, same thing. Even in soccer, I would imagine there's changes with the physical presence of the players. Is that what's happened? And it just, the sports maybe haven't kept up with the changes in the athletes that are performing?
Well, both guys have alluded to it, Tom, and you've alluded to it. To me, it's the speed and size. And I don't know what you do about that, by the way. You know what I mean? Like, every year the game gets faster. I mean, I haven't coached, you know, as a regular coach in 9 years in OHL. If I look at a film from 9 years ago, and I'm still involved today, the game is faster. You know what I mean? And the guys are bigger. Right here in Windsor, you know, the guys at the Spitfires have brought into the fold this year. The 6'6", 16-year-old, no, who's going to be a good player, by the way. The kid Kerwin is a really good player. I saw him play in the U.S. program last year. He's about 6'3" at 220, 17 years old. They're bigger, stronger, and faster. And football, I guess, you know, that's two sports we seem to be leaning on here a little bit. I don't know what you do about it. I really don't. I know in football, you know, reading some of the stuff where, you know, now they're only allowing some of the high schools in the States have taken the initiative, you know, 1 practice a week with with pads and helmets on. I don't know if that's the answer or not, to be honest with you, because, you know, if a guy doesn't learn how to tackle, then he stands a chance of some other form of injury, if you ask me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Sort of thing.
Sure.
I don't know what, I really don't. And I have a little bit of a fear because I got 3 grandsons who live in Mississauga, all play hockey, and one playing at the high level down there, and hitting starts for him next year, and he can't wait, to be honest with you.
Okay.
But I'm a little leery of, you know, the fact that, you know, he's going to throw himself headfirst into something, and as we all agreed on maybe before we started here, I'll go back 20 years ago, we had guys get concussions, they didn't know it. Right. They really didn't. I mean, there was no protocol involved like now.
From that perspective, I think that the awareness that you know, Dave and Rock are talking about, that's a good thing, because we don't want to misdiagnose. And you know, I probably had a concussion I didn't know about, and I went out there and played when I played football. I don't think I've ever felt I had a concussion in soccer, but the collision in soccer is not intended. It's, you know, both players going up at the same time and colliding. It's never a forced tackle. So those things can be managed, and you can say, listen, stop. And in my case, my son and my nephew, in last year's schedule, both had mild concussions. And we were careful because we were aware of what's taking place, that let's not jump the gun here and think that it's nothing and throw them back into the game. Let's take the time. So that's a good thing. I think the awareness, the discussion is a good thing. What can you do about it? I think that, you know, going down the road of sort of enforcing no hitting is going to be a challenge for football and hockey, because that's a culture.
Go ahead, Rock.
Well, that just changes the sport, though.
Changes
You
the
can't
entire
have
sport,
hockey without hitting.
That's
You
right.
can't
Exactly.
have
That's
soccer.
right.
You know, even
Yeah.
soccer without tackles, or
Right.
even football. How are you going to get through that?
Or hockey without hitting. I mean,
You-
it would be a game of shinny.
Yeah.
It would be the
Right.
bend of blazers, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, I think, like, you know, I'll speak again as a hockey guy here, but I'm pretty well all sports I kind of get into. But the Ontario Hockey League took the initiative back probably 3 or 4 years ago, and really controlling headshots, penalizing people. And I think the commissioner, for all that he's been criticized, because I think he went overboard, and sometimes maybe it wasn't a bad idea at all, because I think he's brought a really good awareness. Okay, we're not going to tolerate headshots, you know, sort of thing. But if a guy does get hit and severely concussed, I mean, it's going to change his whole life. Like, you know, I mean, there's no way to control it. I mean, you know, okay, fine, we suspend a guy 10 games. The other guy loses basically, you know, a lot of his ability to function later in life. You know.
Eric has tweeted in, and he thinks, Eric says, how about the equipment that's being used today? Should that not be improved, and could that curb the amount of concussions that are taking place?
Yeah.
Equipment's a good point to bring up, Eric, for sure. I know in soccer they're not wearing helmets. Maybe it gets to that point, Vancho. I don't know if that's possible.
No, I'm not against that point. I think that, you know, equipment could be 2 ways, right? we can believe that we have such strong protection with the equipment that we have and the science and technology that we have in place right now, that we can go out and hit harder and hit faster, and we can do the things that we do in football and in hockey, and we think we have the protection. But, you know, you are talking about a 220-pound guy moving at, what, about 40 miles an hour?
Yeah, 30 miles
you
an
know,
hour.
30 miles an hour. That's some impact. In soccer, you're limited in terms of what the speed is. And I think that the guys that are wearing the gear right now is not because they're preventing a potential, they've already been concussed and are preventing a worsening of the condition. And we see that, and there's some great companies out there with headgear. So for soccer, we're going to see more headgear introduced, I think. And I don't think it takes away from the game that much. You know, it doesn't look. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't look very cool.
I don't
but
think you can worry about looks. You have to worry about looks at that
exactly.
point.
Yeah.
Safety comes first.
Right.
Anthony's also tweeted in. He says it's all about the playing surfaces today. And I know that's been brought up often. How do you change an arena though? Do you take seats out? The bigger surfaces. They've talked about bigger ice surfaces. I don't know how much bigger you can make an NFL playing surface. A soccer field. I don't know if that's the answer, especially in soccer and football. I mean, no.
Is he maybe referring to turf and the synthetic fields? Because they're perfect, right?
I just read, you know, he's saying it's all about the playing surfaces. Maybe he is. Maybe it is the turf thing.
Because an ice rink is an ice
Do you think the turf could play a factor in all this?
A lot more grip. Lot more grip, a lot more injuries on turf. That's why the pros won't play on turf.
Yeah.
The pro soccer players won't play on turf. It's got to be a natural grass surface before they play.
Yeah.
Okay, that's in soccer.
Yeah.
I mean, football, obviously, I mean, Green Bay still plays on, I think, natural gas.
Yeah.
Chicago still has natural
Well,
gas.
I think that the actual fields themselves that are emerging on turf are really softening up. So, you know, I recall even the University of Windsor, you know, the Lancer field, if you fell on that, you know, a couple of years ago.
They're better made, for sure.
They're better made. So the technology is improving in that end of it. I think mostly it's these collisions. It's how do you prevent and how do you educate to avoid the collisions, whether it's equipment or whether it's technique or whether there are rules in place to limit certain things. That's the way to prevent it. But I don't think that you can do it by either taking away the headgear completely and saying, okay, let's go back to the 1940s when you have to be really careful, okay, without headgear. I don't think, you know, we're not going to do that. We just have to figure out.
I mean, Don Cherry a few years ago, we talked about this before getting on the set here today. Don Cherry brought up a great point a few years ago about how players had more respect for each other when they weren't wearing the helmets and the big padded equipment. He said they just didn't take those liberties. Does he have a fair point here?
Well, Dom, to me again, I think the game was much slower then. I agree that maybe the guys did have a little more respect. I think at today's speed, a guy going out without a helmet would be absolutely committing suicide. I really do. I mean, I still play a little bit. I wouldn't even dream my little group of going out without a helmet on. I mean, all you got to do is slip and fall. I mean, this is silly little, you know, old timers rec league or something. But you know, going back to equipment, you know, and I'm only going to talk at the highest level. Let's talk the the NHL, NFL. I mean, sort of, they get the best guys in the world trying to design helmets, and they still and these things keep increasing. So I don't know where you go next with equipment. I worry more about the guys at lower level. They got to buy the $25 helmet as opposed to the $125 helmet. You know, they're probably not getting.
Can you get a helmet for $125 today?
I don't know. I don't even know what they're worth.
I don't think that exists anymore.
I don't even know what they cost anymore.
I don't think mine even fit properly when I wore it.
We're going to take a timeout, guys. After the break, we're going to move on to our next topic. We're going to talk Notre Dame, Michigan, their final meeting coming this Saturday. Why has Notre Dame pulled out? I'll throw that to the panel and let them think about it during our commercial break. We'll have that for you right here on the Sports Den.
Adding new products or services to your brochure? Updating those drab business cards? Or looking to create a striking window display? In need of some screen-printed signs for that construction site or promotional campaign? Posters, vehicle wraps, and a whole lot more. At Angel Star Digital, our expert design and production team are ready to meet all your promotional needs. For samples of our work, check out our website at www.angelstardigital.com, or you can call us at 519-969-0712. That's 519-969-0712.
Bye.
Great. My car's blocked in.
I got this. brake is on. Geez, what's in this thing? Rocks?
That's a rule change.
Welcome back to the Sports Den Live. Thanks for sticking around. Domenic Papa with you. Before we get to our panel, again, a quick reminder, this Saturday evening, OFC football here on We-TV. The AKO Fratman will be looking to improve to 2-1. They host the London Beefeaters. Pre-game show kickoff. Pre-game shows at 6:30, and all the action starting at 7 p.m. We'll have the game for you. We-TV.ca. From the Windsor Stadium. Rocky Uracy is in the studio with us. Also, Vancho Sorovsky from the Windsor Stars, and Dave Perpich, new member into the Windsor-Nessus County Sports Hall of Fame. Notre Dame and Michigan will battle off down in South Bend this coming Saturday. This will be the final meeting, I'm not going to say forever, but for a long time. Notre Dame has chosen to walk away from scheduling any games with Michigan. This is getting a lot of buzz, and you know, we talk about business in sports. Is this a business decision? And if it is a business, is it a smart one? I mean, I think this is a no-brainer to have this game every year.
Oh, it's big money. Yeah. The games now, college ball is big time money. And the part that gets me is that these are, we're just looking up some stats before I came up today, and I'm not a stats guy, but Michigan and Notre Dame are 1 and 2 in the most wins of college football.
History, yeah. I mean,
history of it. And their rivalry started in like 1890 something. And that's part of college ball is the tradition and the rivalry and all that mixed in. It's part of the event. It's part of the whole feel of the game. And if you start taking these influential games, these rivalries, and start breaking them up, like going to hockey, like they tried to break up Detroit.
Yeah, well, how many years have people complained about Toronto and Detroit not playing in our area anyways, and in Toronto for that matter as well. You want those games. If you're a league or a sport, you want those games.
Well, I certainly think it's about money. I'm not sure, where they factor it in, but it's got to be about money because Notre Dame is independently in football because of that reason, and perhaps maybe Michigan is asking for more in terms of that relationship, and Notre Dame isn't going to do it. If I were Dave Brandon, I would say basically, you don't want to play football, we don't play in any sport. Now, they're in the ACC on everything else except football. And Michigan, of course, is in the Big Ten. So they probably aren't going to play unless they schedule each other. They force schedule each other. So I don't think you'll see Notre Dame, Michigan on any level competing. So football is a start, but I don't think Brandon is going to want to do that.
Football is the biggest one. I mean,
sure.
It's the most watched one. I mean, in football now they have this playoff system in college football. I don't know.
It's possible.
So it's possible that way, but officially there will not be any games.
It's a shame.
It's a shame. It really is. And again, I don't think this is where they're taking the tradition, the fans into consideration. Adam says Notre Dame's a bunch of chicken asses. That's what it, okay. Tell us how you really feel, Adam.
They don't want to lose, in other words.
Obviously a Michigan fan there, but...
Well, Dom, when I first heard about it, I was, I won't say upset because I don't go to the games anymore, but I used to be at most Michigan games years ago, and I still have a friend who's kept his seat ticket, and, just talking with him, I mean, their non-conference schedule, and even their conference schedule this year is absolutely horrendous. Their home games, it's not worth having tickets if you ask me. I mean, Appalachian State last week, and then I don't even know who the next. So every year, like for him, he looks forward to a Notre Dame coming into Michigan every other year. They're, obviously be back. That's what they look forward to, and he has his brother-in-law and family come down, and it's a. Brother's not coming down to watch Appalachian State, and they had tickets. There were tickets available last week on Groupon. Okay, that's for the Michigan game over there last week. I mean, that's incredible. That's incredible, and I think people are just saying.
I think part of that too, though, Perp, is the pricing of the tickets now too.
Oh, God, from when I started,
yeah, let's face it. You look at some of the prices of those games now, and now they have these premium games where the tickets prices are gone up again. The seats are licensing, all of that. I think it's just getting out of hand that way.
I do too.
But I guess when I heard about this, I kind of scratched my head and said, because I like Notre Dame. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I like the old school tradition, stuff like that. But I was disappointed. I think you want to play the best every chance you get. I think every week you want to play the best of the best.
Well,
not that Michigan's been any good the last few years. So I said, I know, you being that Michigan State guy, Monty, you couldn't wait to get that out, right?
Well, the meaning of that game now is kind of elevated again. You know,
Yes.
you're looking for a marquee match, a marquee game. Now you've got Michigan, and Michigan State is
always
even
a
more
marquee
meaningful.
game.
It's always a marquee game, but now it's, you know, they don't have the other one to look forward to.
Yeah, that much more, I guess. And I still haven't been able to figure out why. Hopefully one of you guys can give me some guidance here. Why is Notre Dame doing this?
Yeah.
I think that's
that would
the
be
question.
my question, Dom.
Yeah, I think that's the
know.
question everybody's at. Why? What's the reasoning and the logic behind taking this game away? Not only from traditional football fans, but even from your own Notre Dame fans. I would imagine they still want to see the Michigan game.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's perhaps, and I don't know this, but I would imagine that that's a big-time revenue game. And so if Notre Dame is driving the bus and Michigan is saying we want a bigger cut in the ongoing rivalry.
But isn't that all established beforehand?
They negotiate a contract every several years or whatever it is, because it's not a guarantee that you're going to have this in perpetuity. They have term agreements, right? Especially out of conference. And so, that's just speculation that somebody is saying, listen, we need to do better on this thing.
Not that Notre Dame has to worry about selling out or selling their seats. The place is back, just like the big house in Michigan.
Yeah.
That's not even an issue. That's a non-factor.
Right.
I guess what becomes is how much do you put the prices at, and how much money do you want to make?
Right.
So how can that even be a concern on Notre Dame's part?
Right.
Is the revenue split? You know what? Jack your prices up a little bit more. They're going to sell. How many people from Michigan, and I know people that are going from Michigan this weekend to Notre Dame to watch that game.
That's right.
So either way, you're selling out.
Yeah.
Why? How can it become a financial thing?
So what else is it if it's not financial?
TV revenue.
Yeah.
That's where it's probably at.
Yeah, well,
it probably has to do some kind of rights,
Yeah.
TV rights, whatever they're compensated on the TV side.
Yeah.
Because that's probably even bigger than their gate is the TV
Oh, yeah,
revenue.
TV
right?
would be.
Right.
Yeah. And Notre Dame obviously has a contract, I believe, with NBC.
NBC, yeah.
So I mean, maybe that's factoring into it. Why are we giving this to Michigan? We cut the deal.
It comes back down to it's a financial consideration.
Okay, we'll leave it at financial. I got a couple minutes here left, and there was one other football issue that this week the commissioner of the NFL announced some new sanctions against domestic violence. I mean, talk about a sport spilling over into your everyday family life, and some pretty severe levies will be handed down if it is indeed proven that domestic violence is taking place at the home.
I applaud the commissioner, Don.
Yeah, I think most people do.
And I hope.
I just think it's sad that it's come to this.
And I hope the commissioners of our other major sports
I think they will follow.
follow along. I really
Yeah.
do. I mean, there's no place for it. And these people are supposed to be role models, first of all.
And I think that was the commissioner's concern with this person.
And that's, I mean, I can't say any more than that, but I applaud them.
I mean, it's no different than you have a set of employees that work for you in your organization, and they represent you. And in this case, because it's a public organization, that their behavior on and off the field reflects on your organization. So you should have the ability to say, listen, you're going to play by our values, by our rules, and if you don't, then you're no longer part of this whole league or organization. And yeah, I think it's a right move. And I think that Goodell recognizes that he didn't get it right the first time.
And he admitted to that.
He admitted to that. And so,
Rock, you get a final say on it. What are you thinking of it?
Every player wears that shield on their shoulder. They're wearing that NFL shield on their shoulder. And yeah, rightfully, it depends. The league should be able to control what these guys, what they're putting out as a product and representing as a product, and you sit by their standards.
All right, I do think the other leagues will follow. I think Perp's right there. I think NHL, NBA, Major League Baseball, any other major sport, MLS, soccer, I think they'll follow, and I think it's a good call by the NFL to get the ball rolling. Rock, Vancho, Perp, thanks for coming in today. Again, don't forget to tune in to AKO Football this coming Saturday here on we-tv.ca. Until then, this is Domenic Papa wishing you a great night. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.